12 o'clock hour of the program. Chris Schubert with you. Appreciate you all joining us on the Tuesday edition of the program. Our top story of the day, the Diamondbacks blowing it in the ninth inning. Justin Martinez getting hurt. Them finding a way to win in extra innings. And now where we go from here as another injury has started to pile up for this Diamondbacks team. Just have so many pitchers that are landing on the injured list so far this season. And it has led me to one place in particular. And it's a place that I didn't think we would get to, that I didn't think this team would need to be. Because if you'll remember, in the offseason, the Diamondbacks made a choice. They let Jock Peterson go. They let Christian Walker go. And they admitted, we played the cut at the time of Mike Hazen talking about how he understood that by letting those guys go, that no matter who the replacements were, that the offense was going to take a step backwards from the team that they were in 2024, admitting basically that they needed to lean more into run prevention than run creation. And then we saw that play out with the main addition of their offseason being Corbin Burnes to the tune of $210 million. Run prevention over run creation. And so we went into the season going, hey, this is one of the best rotations they've ever put together. If everybody pitches to the back of their baseball card, you've got two Cy Young candidates. You have an often forgotten about number 3 in Merrill Kelly. You have young players like Brendan Pfaadt and Ryan Nelson, a part of your rotation. And you just have a veteran who's been around the block a couple of times and is going to eat up innings for you in Eduardo Rodriguez. One of the best rotations in the game, maybe the best rotation in the game, setting you up to go toe-to-toe with the Dodgers. Hey, they've got a great offense. Great. We're going to have excellent pitching to match up with that offense. We're going to silence those bats. That's how we spoke about this team at the start of the year. I am ready on June 10th to flip the script on everybody. And I'm ready to flip the script out of sheer necessity. The injuries continue to stack up for this ball club. They have lost Corbin Burnes for the remainder of this season. They have, throughout this year, gone through all 4 of their closer options, and all 4 of those closer options have been hurt and mistimed this season. Justin Martinez, now it looks like for the second time this year, is going to land on the injured list. A.J. Puck has been sitting on the injured list for a majority of this season, and we are desperately awaiting his return to the bullpen. Kevin Ginkel missed the start of the year because of an injury. Kendall Graveman, who they brought in spring, hurt and missed time at the start of the season. The injuries just won't stop to this bullpen, to this pitching staff. And so now, instead of wondering aloud, what can they do down there? What guys can they call up from Reno? What adjustments can they make? I am now going to flip the script. This is now on the Diamondbacks offense. This is now on the bats to be the team that they were a year ago, to be the team that Mike Hazen said aloud they didn't need to be going into this season. They need to be an offensive juggernaut. They need Corbin Carroll to be MVP Corbin Carroll. They need Ketel Marte to be MVP Ketel Marte. They need Josh Naylor to have more nights like he did last night. They need Geraldo Perdomo to continue to have the career year that he is having. They need Pavin Smith to be a top-tier DH option. They need to have a top-flight, one of the best in the big leagues offenses. Now, the good news about that, as I effort to get the exact numbers in front of me, they're doing a pretty decent job of that so far this season. This is not an offense that I'm asking to go from being a bottom third of the league offense to a top third of the league offense. This is an offense that's already in the top half, that's already in the upper echelon of offenses. I'm just asking it to stay there and get a little bit better. 10th in average, 4th in on-base percentage, 3rd in OPS, 5th in run scores, 4th in home runs. That's what this offense has been this season. Do you want to understand why this is where I'm pivoting to today? Starting pitching, 25th in ERA, 21st in home runs per 9, 14th in hits per 9, 20th in walks per 9, 12th in strikeouts per 9. The bullpen, it's even worse, 27th in ERA, 23rd in walks per 9, 27th in hits per 9, 29th in home runs per 9 from your relief pitchers. The pitching just isn't getting it done. And I'm sorry, how can you expect it to get it done when they're running out of their top flight, top tier, highest leverage options? We are about to play a stretch of baseball for this team. This team's about to go through a stretch where they're going to be without Justin Martinez more than likely. They're going to continue to be without AJ Puck. Kevin Ginkel's going to be down there in Reno. Kendall Graveman's on the injured list. Shelby Miller is going to be right back in to being the closer of this ball club. When in spring, he was one of the last guys to make the team. Was a bright spot in spring with how well he pitched and was a great story that he made the bullpen. But nobody envisioned when he made the team in spring that when it got to June and the season was hanging in the balance, that he would be asked to be the closer of the ball club. If I told you that in spring, you would have said that the season was over. You would have said that the season collapsed in front of all of our eyes. So I can't ask that group to all of a sudden find it. I can't ask a group that is just the flights from Reno to Phoenix are just littered with Diamondbacks players. The pilots just know them by a first name basis at this point, flying them back and forth. And it's not working. Anybody that they've called up hasn't fixed this problem.
You would have to imagine that the flight from Reno to Phoenix and Phoenix to Reno isn't full.
That's where you want to go with this?
Well, I just was thinking of that in my head.
Reno's a nice vacation spot. I'm sure there are plenty of people from Phoenix that want to get away to Reno.
I'm sure.
There's also a lot of pitchers coming back and forth between Reno and Chase Field.
A lot of bullpen arms.
A lot of bullpen arms making that trek as well, racking up the frequent flyer miles. And so they're out of options. I'm not going to look in the minor leagues and say, oh, even though he's injured, Dre Jameson's going to fix this. Or, oh, Tommy Henry is going to fix this. If you expect the arms that this team still has left available to them are going to fix this, then we are doomed. This team is not going to turn it around. So it's going to rely on the offense. It's going to rely on the team that is fifth in runs scored to be even better than that. It is going to rely on a team that is fourth in home runs to be even better than that. Fourth in on-base percentage to be even better than that. 10th in average to be even better than that. And I don't think, compare the two. Ask the offense to do more or ask the pitching staff to do more. I feel way more comfortable asking this lineup to do more because you know what? I know what Corbin Carroll can be when he's firing on all cylinders. Takes the first pitch of the game opposite field last night. I know what Ketel Marte can be when he is firing on all cylinders. I watched just as well as you did the first half of Ketel Marte's season last year where he was battling blow for blow Shohei Ohtani to be the NL MVP. I don't think it's out of the question to ask Josh Naylor to be the best version of himself and to be more like the guy that we saw last night. That wasn't an out of the blue experience for Josh Naylor last night. That's who he can be as a hitter every single day. You need Lourdes Gurriel and Eugenio Suarez to step up and be the veterans for this team. You need Pavin Smith to heat back up again. But it's all right in front of them because unlike the pitching staff, unlike the bullpen, the only injury this team is facing right now is being down Gabby Moreno. They've got every other key bat in their lineup. So today, we are making the pivot. Instead of wondering what changes and tweaks this team can make to their bullpen and to their pitching staff, I'm going into every single night circling the magic number. You got to score 7 runs or more. I mean, you just have to every single night. This has to be Big 12, old school, Saturday night on ABC football, Oklahoma, Texas Tech. I mean, it's got to be 45-38 with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That's what the Diamondbacks need to be if they want to. They don't need to be this all season, but if they want to save their season, they need to be this long enough for AJ Puck to come back. They need to be this long enough to get their season back on the rails to where Mike Hazen can go out and buy at the deadline. That's what this team needs to do, because producer Evan did an excellent job in the morning meeting. He ran the numbers. We've long said on this program, 89, 90 wins is the magic number we think that you're going to have to get to at least be in the mix here, right? And so producer Evan ran the math. And over the last 3 seasons, there have been 5 teams that have specifically ended with an 89-73 record. 3 of them happened to be last season's 3 NL wildcard teams, the Mets, the Braves, and the Diamondbacks, who just missed on a tiebreaker. And then there were 2 other teams. And so I wanted to look. So I asked producer Evan to do this. Of those 5 teams, tell me what those squads did in the first half so I can get a gauge on what this team needs to try to do, what their North Star needs to be. So you ran the math, producer Evan. I will let you share the math with the audience of what those 5 teams, 4 of the 5 made the playoffs. The only one that didn't was last year's Diamondbacks. What those teams did in the first half of their season, and then compare it to where the Diamondbacks sit after last night at 32-34.
So at the end of June, 5 teams that finished 89 and 73 in the last couple of years: the 22 Padres, the 23 Blue Jays, 24 D-backs, Braves, Mets from last year as well. The Mets finished June at 40-41.
1 game below 500.
1 game below 500, and that was the historic comeback season, so take that with a grain of salt.
Yep.
The 24 Braves were 10 games over 500, 46-36. The Diamondbacks fell to 2 games below 500 at 41-43 by the end of June last year. The 23 Blue Jays were 7 games above 500 with 45-38. And the 22 Padres were the best of all the teams, 14 games over 500, 46-32.
A lot of winning baseball among that group that finished with 89 wins, at least 89 wins over the last couple of years, finishing specifically with an 89-73 record. A lot of winning in the early part of the season, a lot of teams, a lot of games above 500. And so with that math in mind, and the 2 outliers being a couple of teams that were below 500, the Diamondbacks being one of them, did not make it. The Mets being 1 game below 500, and they had a historical comeback going from being 10 games below 500 and turning it around to being one of the best teams in baseball into the second half. And you're seeing what they're doing to start this season. They're one of the best teams in baseball now. So they turned it around and they saved their season because they just started playing to the back of their baseball cards. So I think for us to even entertain this still is a possibility to where they can get to 89 wins if that number is what is required to make the playoffs. You've got to get to 500, and you've got to do it sooner rather than later. You've got to do exactly what you did last week against Atlanta, sweep to get back to 500, and then build off of that. Don't then immediately give it away the next series up in Cincinnati. And so the way you do that, the way you rapidly and quickly get back to 500 is you just start stacking series win after series win after series win. And then before you know it, this team is going to be back hovering at or above 500, and then we can seriously entertain a second half run that this team can go on. But it is going to be on the backs of this offense. It is not going to be on the back of this pitching staff. It is not going to be on the back of this bullpen. It is going to absolutely rest on the shoulders of the offense. And I know that that is a tough ask when they are top 10 in almost any category. They are going to have to drive this bus if this season is going to continue to be relevant into July. It's just that simple. The offense has to be not just good, not just great. The offense needs to be excellent.